everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you get your coffee, you had your afternoon tea, because I desperately need one right now. So while sit back and relax, we're gonna share a little bit to you about Branch today. So good afternoon again, welcome. So mobile has become quite an important channel for retailers like you guys, because who doesn't have a smartphone now, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about how mobile behaviors have changed since COVID-19 today, and how we have, how Branch actually discovered some trends that can help you guys to better plan for the future. So I'm Dee, I'm your speaker today. I'm from Branch. I'm the growth director at Branch Hong Kong, and I cover Hong Kong and Taiwan. And a little bit of agenda today, so you know what we're going to talk about. I have a little bit of mobile trends to share, so you know how the future looks like. We're going to talk a little bit about how do you drive growth in different channels, and why do we need to use different channels. And at the end, I'm going to give you a little bit of examples, so it helps you brainstorm to kind of give your company the next step, and how do you move on with the future once COVID-19 is done. So before I do all of that, I would like to give you guys a little intro of Branch. So Branch is actually a US-based company. We first started in Silicon Valley. We now have around 400 employees right now around the world. You see that in this chart, our offices are spread around the world. The US and Greater China region is actually one of our biggest regions. We are at Series E right now for funding, and we're actually seeing a very aggressive growth in the past years that we've started our company. So Branch works with over 60,000 of apps around the world right now, and majority of the top 200 apps work with us. Here's a little bit of the logo wall here. You can see some familiar Hong Kong brands there. They are our partners, and what Branch does is to really help them solve that user experience problem when they come to mobile. So 2020. I know it's been tough. It's been tough on me too. It's been hard for me to talk to clients about budgeting. It's been hard for me to talk about marketing expenses, all of that. So I know that you may see the same struggle too. So today we're going to share a little bit about the trends that we've seen pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. So here you see that a lot of people, if you look at the date, we're looking at January to May, when COVID first hit really hard in March. We see a lot of the big purchases has dropped dramatically, especially real estate, cars, and weddings. All these purchases, people are pausing. They need a second to think about what they're going to do. Or for weddings, people are simply not getting a big wedding anymore because all their relatives may not be able to come, etc., etc. And here you can see that some verticals, we could call them high-risk activities, such as events, travel, or sports. They kind of just fall like straight down because people can't participate anymore. A little bit interesting here, you see music streaming has gone down a little bit too. My guess is perhaps we're not in the office anymore. We're no longer using music streaming app to kind of block out office noises anymore, perhaps. This one, you guys could get interested in this one, because this is COVID-19 has actually changed how we feed ourselves too. Before that, we go out to restaurants, we want to find coffee shops, we want to physically be there. You can see that coffee shops and restaurant finders, they have gone down. But with online stuff, online groceries, recipes, or deliveries, we see a big jump because people don't want to go to stores anymore. People want to cook more at home. So we see more changes in this kind of apps. And also we see some vertical in e-commerce that have gone up. So kids and pets are going skyrocketing. And also we see active wear and shoes kind of went down when the pandemic struck, and it just came right back up. So my guess here is that people are stopping the purchase initially, but later on they figure out that they probably need to move around, exercise at home too, and those went back up. And a little bit of change here, instead of looking at industries, we want to look at the overall app installs and all the mobile activities. So install has not really changed that dramatically. You see that there's a little spike between end of March and April, but there is a drop in attributed installs. What does attributed installs mean? That there's no data on what drove the install. So over the last few months, attribution ratios have been really falling. But why is install not falling? So we saw that other channels are actually making up those differences. We'll explain a little bit more on what other channels are later. So what does this mean for us? Users are still downloading apps, but not because of ads. Of course, there are a number of possible explanations for this. Brands are shifting investment to other channels to save money, and ads in the past were likely soaking up the credit for installs that were always going to happen anyway, could be. But here's a big one. Many users are proactively adopting apps to learn new behaviors for the post-COVID world. So this means that they are intentionally looking for the download rather than waiting for an app to show up and then do a download, which is a very different acquisition path if you think about it comparing to before. So many marketing teams and business decisions makers, they will need to really make changes in order to measure these new channels effectively. And what are these new channels? So from the branch data, we see that owned social media channels, web banners, referrals, emails, they're all making up all this loss with paid ads or unattributed installs to keep the installs kind of the same before as pre-COVID. So these are the channels that we see with the spike. So why are we talking about apps so much? Why is apps so important for retailers like you guys? Because we see that most of the mobile transactions happen on apps, 66% of it. We see that mobile apps bring 3 times more sales than websites. And we also see that there is a very aggressive year-on-year growth every year. So these are all Criteo data that we get. And also with app, we see a lot more engagement. So when it comes to building relationship, I would compare that to kind of like dating. When you first met someone, you kind of give them the mobile web to kind of introduce who you are, but it's not really in-depth yet. You don't see that person every day. But once you get to know each other and you want to develop that relationship more, you want to encourage them to download the app. So every time when they turn on their phone, they will see your face on it. That means your app icon on it. So that's how I compare it. So you would probably say, Dee, you've talked so much about mobile app. So does my web presence not important anymore? Why do we still need to look at different channels? Like, why is it needed? Well, because when it comes to mobile web, I would say it's a great property for you, because doing a web ad costs 5 times less than doing an app download ads. That's the first thing. And second, is the scale of it. So a lot of the people still turn to a web search, 87% of them, instead of going to an app when they need something. So you see that the scale and the cost, the scale is way bigger and the cost is way lower. So we want to use that web traffic to push them into your app. So that's the utopia of everything. And for paid, I'll give you an example here. So we have, for Google Ads, there are 5 different kind of ads. So there are 4 of them that actually goes to the website. So how do we actually drive all this website traffic and help them go into the app and then creating that conversions? That's really important. So switching gear a little bit, instead of pay, we talk a little bit more organic. Why do we need our website? Because organic users are just better. People that get referred, that see a smart banner, to click on a banner on the web to app, they are way better because the click to purchase rate is way higher. And they also stick longer. They not just pay one time and then they go. They would always come back to your app. They retain better. So that comes to you when it comes to the app. How do you be creative with your product, with your campaign? How do you build that kind of creative strategies? I think if you think about it and leveraging that organic users, that can help you really thrive as a company. So I want to give you guys a few examples here. We talk a lot about why mobile is important, why do we need an app, and why do we need to drive traffic through different channels. And now I want to give you guys a little bit examples of how the real world does it. So here's Starbucks. Starbucks is using an offline property of a QR code. They are printing the QR code there. When people scan the QR code, they can actually get the app right away. So that gives you another channel of acquiring app users. And for Overstock here, on the left, you see is desktop browser. So on there, you can actually type in your phone number and your Overstock will text you the app and you click on the link and you can download the app. And why do we need to do it? So I think that gives you a way, kind of give you an example of like when you get a package, when you bought something, you want to see when are you going to get your package, right? I'm usually the kind of person that I'm super anxious about it. I want to know exactly where it stops, when does it get sent out, and when am I going to get it. So that's really important because you're actually creating that value. So when your user download your app, you can give them all this value instead of being super salesy and be like, download the app and buy more. That's actually helping them. When you create value, your customers are going to be way more loyal. So what we do is that branch would actually text the app to the user through a text message. And then they can download the app. And then for you as a marketer or as a store owner, you will be able to actually capture that download. And then here's a little more complex slide with Iconic here. So when you're browsing something, when you're on an e-commerce platform, you're trying to buy a pair of shoes, you can consider driving your traffic into your app by popping up a banner like the second image here to encourage them or to let them know that we actually have an app that can provide way better user experience and can interact with you way better and can service you way better. So when the user actually download the app, we can show them the same page, show them the same product on your app, and then to encourage that download, encourage that purchase further. Sephora here use a different approach. Instead of a half-page banner, they use a top banner here to take people from search, and then to the Sephora website. And then with the top banner, they are introducing the Sephora app to the user. When they download it, they go to the same product that they were looking at, for example. So why do we need different kind of banners? We saw a half-page one just now, and then we saw a top banner just now, because what we find out that with smart banners, the better you use it, the more personalized it is, the better the result. So you can see it here that the results are almost 5 times better than a simple banner usage. So really creating and developing that personalized experience is the key here. And here is an example of how Sephora is being personalized. So you can see it here. I am on my EDM. I'm on my Google Mail. So whenever I click on the Google Mail, usually it will take me to the website. And then when it takes me to the website, even though if I have the app, I would have to go to the website and then go back to the app, and I can't find that product anymore. So what Branch does here is that from the EDM, people that get the Google email, and then we will click on a product, and then we'll take them to a page where give them a call to action banner here, which in this case is a full page banner, to kind of increase with that call to action for them to turn back to the app. We're giving them a 10% off of any purchase. So when that person finishing download the app, not only that we take them back to the same product that they were looking at, we also would give the user the discount. And then here is an example of house party, how referral works. I think in the previous session, Delia talked a little bit about referrals too. We want to talk about referrals too because it works well. So Dee, today I want to invite my friend Sarah to join house party with me because we have been in lockdown for a long time when we haven't seen each other for a while. I want to invite my friend Sarah. So I will send this link to Sarah through WhatsApp message to invite her to download the app, and then we can chat together on house party. So I'll send her this app, and then she'll receive it. She'll see this banner. She'll click on download, and then she would successfully download the app, and then I would be automatically added to the app itself. So Sarah no longer needs to find Dee again because Dee is already using branch technology, using our deep link technology to get Dee's contact in there, and then Dee and Sarah can have a chat right away. So this is all about personalizing your user experience on your mobile and help that transaction to go way faster, and that user experience will help your customers to be a happier customer. And the last one is Fox Sports. So with Fox Sports, we talked about referrals, we talked about emails, we talked about websites. So with social media, we can do the same thing. So social media is that you own. It could be an Instagram page, it could be a Facebook page, it could be a TikTok page. So you guys can put the branch link on there and actually show that there is a way for people to download a certain app. And from here that you can see with the link on this description, people can click on it. And when they click on it, they can get the app. And then when they click on the app, when they download the app, it will be a personalized onboarding experience afterwards. So that means that branch would know that they come from Instagram. We want to give them a certain experience that with a deep link, we can do that. So cool. You guys feel free to leave any questions that you might have in the box, and then we can take care of it after. So to just conclude a little bit, just some final tips and reminders is really to explore different channels, because you have a lot of channels and you just may never really utilize them. Just now we talk about website, we talk about your social media channels, your emails. These are all kind of channels that you can leverage on, especially with your web traffic is huge. Like, why don't we just try to push that into app and see how that performs? And does it perform better? Just like my data said that with apps, it actually performed 3 times more better than website. Be creative. Don't get limited in the box that think that pay advertising is your only way out. It's not. There are multiple ways that we can do promotions, especially with referrals and EDM. They're super powerful. Now that we have a way to measure it, now that branch provide a link for you to measure it, it can show you how powerful these channels are. And measurements, always go back to data. I always tell my clients to always go back to your data, optimize based on data and not your feelings. So really look at different channels and measure each channel effectiveness separately. So see how they perform. Well, with that, I hope that you guys get something out of this session today. If you have any questions that you want to ask and you don't feel like asking me here, you can email me at d.tsang@branch.io, or you can find our booth in here that you can directly message us. We're happy to take any questions that you may have when it comes to mobile, and we hope that you have a great experience during this seminar. Cool. I'm just gonna wait a few seconds and see if you guys have questions. Cool, I think we're good. Oh, we have one question from Jason. So Jason asked a question about what's the difference between branch and Firebase. So Branch is a platform where we provide attribution data. So that means that we would get all this network like Facebook, Instagram, Google, and then we'll translate that into attribution data to tell you that which channels actually perform better during a certain period of time. Firebase is a tracking platform where they do a lot of debugging for you. It's a great tool for developers, but they don't really do attribution. They do event tracking. So that's the biggest difference. So Vince here. Mobile shoppers browse and purchase quickly. What are the strategies for enhancing customer retention and loyalty? So Vince, I would say always go back to the app. They purchase so quick because you give them a great experience and let them purchase quickly. So one thing that I see that is that on web, it usually things are way smaller. You can't really see each product clearly. The purchase journey is way longer because you have to go through more steps. But with an app, it's actually personalized. You put every product beautifully, and you exactly know where each button you should place, and the purchase journey is way easier and way faster. And with a great user experience, that's how you enhance your customer retention and loyalty. And giving them that easy user experience, going back and forth web and app is very important too. When you actually tackle all these questions for linkage issues, that gives you loyalty and retention. Alistair here. Would you recommend we should use this instead of Firebase? So it really depends on what you need. Branch is a deep linking platform where we perform similarly to Firebase, but if you're thinking about really optimizing your channels and see how to open up, first, I would say open up channels by driving your web traffic to app. Second is really looking at attributed data. Really deduping that data of, for example, if a person has clicked on a Facebook ad today and a Google ad today, I want to know exactly who contributed to this purchase. We will be able to do it for you, and Firebase, they will be able to track that for you, but they won't be able to tell you who is the last click. So that's the biggest difference, and depends on what you need. Cool. I think I've answered all 4 questions. Oh, there's one more. Do your solution cover social media platform in different countries and regions? Yes. So a lot of the clients would ask us, like, do you guys work in the US? Do you guys work in China? Anywhere? We work with majority of the advertising platform and social media platforms, so such as TikTok, Facebook, Google, Instagram. They're all the main ones that we work with, and there could be smaller ones that we are working with too. We have a list on our website that you can go refer to. But we're an international company. Cool. Well, if you have a question that don't get answered, or if you have a question later, feel free to email me at d.tsang@branch.io. Happy to connect with you, or find me on LinkedIn. Cool. Thank you, everybody.